I brought it to the attention of my PCP, she was more focused on the anxiety part of it. So she was like, well, I'm just gonna put you on Lexapro. It'll help with your anxiety, and it's also known to help for something like PMDD, but you should see your gynecologist. And my gynecologist said the same thing, so I got on the Lexapro. The Lexapro was really good at first, but I started doing more research, and I found that, you know, the more you take Lexapro, or any anxiety medication for that matter, you always have to take it, and you'll have to take more and more over time, because your body starts to build immunity to it. And in my eyes, that just wasn't an option for me. So I stopped taking it, and, you know, afterwards, you know, when you stop taking medication, sometimes your symptoms can get 2 times worse than before you started taking the medication. So I stumbled a lot. And I think the best part of taking that medication was that my muscle tension didn't completely go away. Other than that, I have not acquired the coping skills that I needed, and I didn't get to the root of the problem. That's the thing about medication. Medications only mask the symptoms. It doesn't actually fix the problem, especially if the problem is mental, emotional, and spiritual. You know, it's you gotta think of the mind-body connection. There's way more to it than just masking the symptoms. If you really want to get a hold on your depression and anxiety, you have to find out where it's actually stemming from. So really, that was just a temporary fix. I know that I dealt with anxiety my whole life, because I always had that muscle tension. I always felt like, even I didn't have social anxiety, which social anxiety is different from general anxiety. Social anxiety is when you have issues interacting with people socially, going out in places. You think that people are always judging you or evaluating you. You're afraid that when you speak to people, they'll see your anxiety. And anxiety is not just something you can control. It's not just, oh, get over it, oh, just do it. Like, it feels debilitating. There's times that when I used to be in class or anywhere that I would have to speak, or even in social settings, I would force myself to do it anyway. But when I knew I was about to talk, like, my heart started racing, my body was sweating. I was literally going into fight or flight response. Now imagine the worst moment in your life where you was afraid, like in full fear, and you had every reason and right to be that afraid. Imagine feeling like that about raising your hand. Imagine feeling like that about the simplest situations. Literally putting your body into full fight or flight over the simplest task. How debilitating that is. And now that I have a grasp on it, I'm able to control my breathing and, you know, do certain things to cope with those feelings so that it doesn't get that intense. But for people who don't have the education and don't have the coping skills to do that, imagine living that way every single day. Like having that feeling every time you have a social interaction, every time you're worried about something. And that's what anxiety is. Anxiety is not just worrying about, oh, what if this, what if that. I mean, that's a part of it, but it can be subconscious fears about what's going to happen tomorrow, how are things going to play out. You have certain conversations with people and you're not able to remember everything that you wanted to say, or you get too emotionally reactive, and then later on you're replaying that same conversation over and over and over, thinking about what you should have done, what you should have said, how you could have reacted. And it's literally never ending. The only way that I've learned how to get a hold on my anxiety as far as my thoughts and being able to sleep at night is if something gets in my head that I can't stop thinking about, I have to write it down. So I can make that recommendation for anybody who has that type of issue, and something is completely stuck in your head and you can't stop thinking about it. The only thing that's going to help is being able to see it on paper. Especially if you don't have people around you that are supportive, that you can talk to and really talk things out. Just write it down, whether it's in the notes in your phone, whether you have a journal. Once you get it out and you see it on paper and you're able to deal with those thoughts, it triggers your brain to say, okay, I'm writing this down so I can't forget it, and I'm releasing this. So it doesn't have to be stuck in my head. That's the thing about anxiety. The main thing behind worrying about something, especially if it has to do with a conversation or worrying about life, is if you think you're going to forget it. If you think you're unable or unconfident, or you're gonna forget something, that is half of your worry and half of your battle right there. You know what I mean? I'm driving to school, so gotta pay the toll. Doing these videos while I'm on my way to school is very helpful. There you go.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, dude, I'm thinking about.
I hate driving.